Good morning everybody and welcome to Facebook Live. My name's Lindy Smith and today I'm going to be showing you how to make ocean waves like I've got on this cake here. Now this whale was made on Friday. It was at a class I was teaching. It was a special request class. The students had got this book here, which is where the original wave was, and they wanted to learn how to do it but with me to guide them. So what I thought I'd do, I'll give you a quick flip through the book and then I'm going to show you how to make the waves. Now if you are live and you're online, do say hi and say hello and tell me perhaps where in the world you are and perhaps whether you've seen whales or not, as the case may be. Right, so this book was one I created quite a while ago and it's full of animal cakes. So that's the opening spread and we've got all sorts in here. If I move this way, hope you can see, there's a sheep. That was all done with buttercream before buttercream became popular. And let me find some other ones for you. I'm sure you've even probably done versions of this one. And we've got the first hello, and it's from Lebanon. Fantastic, good morning to you. And just flicking through. And there we are, there's a little mouse. She's ever so cute, isn't she? That was done for my daughter. Now this book was created quite a long time ago when my children were still young and they were really into their animals. This is my tiger's head, which I was incredibly pleased with at the time. And I still am, I think. Yes. Oh, this is a very cute one. I love that one. Now when I was doing the research for this book, we had lots of trips to the zoo to see the animals. And oops, there we are, another tortoise, another one I'm very proud of, it's my tortoise. And obviously there's lots more as well, and there's some little fish to go with the ocean. And some are quick and easy, and some obviously take a little bit more time, but there's all sorts here. There's one called Top Dog, which is rather fun to do. And what have we got here? And there's the pig at the end, the pig's party. So there we go, that's just a few things from the book itself. I will put a link up afterwards so you can see a few more. We've got hi from India. This is a lady called Sugar Feather. I guess that's your company. Says, I love your creativity, and she has all my books. Fantastic, that's good to know. I've written 15 over the years, so there's quite a lot on your bookshelf then. Okay, so what I'm going to do is give them a little twirl, and then I'm going to flip the camera, and I'm going to show you how to create the waves here. So what all you'll need is some sugar paste in a variety of blues, and you'll also need some royal icing for the surf, and if you want to make it all shiny, I use piping gel for that. So I'm going to move this out of the way and get to work, as they say. Good morning, Fiona. I know Fiona's up in Aberdeen, I guess. Fiona, is that right? She says she's watching. Okay, I'm going to move this out of the way. It's quite heavy because it's actually cake inside, and we are going to eat it, but I haven't got the heart to get into him yet. Just put him over there. There we go. Right, let me flip this over. Oh, I'm going to bring the stand in first, then flip it over. Okay, if it's behaving. Let's see if it's behaving. Perfect. Here we go. Right, so what I've prepared here is a board, and I've made some wave formers, I guess you can call them. They're just very roughly rolled pieces of sugar paste. As you can see, I haven't bothered about crazing or cracks or anything. It's just there as a former, and it's still soft, and I'm going to use those to pinch and manipulate the waves. Kate says, hi from Perth in Australia. Fantastic. Right, what I'm going to do is move this out of the way, and I'm going to bring that back in a moment. Yep. Priya says, yes, I got that right. Sugar Feather's the name of her company. Fantastic. Good morning to you, and thanks for enlightening me. Right, so what we need is some spacers. These are 5mm spacers, and a selection of sugar paste. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to stand up for this, and I'm going to add sugar paste, but I'm going to pull it apart. So I needed this to warm it just before I came on air. And so it's nice and warm. I've got various colours of blue. The more colours you make, the more colourful your ocean. Now you can use just sort of a turquoise if you want to do like the beautiful Indian oceans around the coral reefs. If you want to do sort of Arctic oceans, you can obviously do darker colours. And if you want to do a stormy sea, you'll probably want to get some navy blues in there. And so it just depends what you want to do. Now, the students on Friday, their ones were quite turquoise and quite light. But as I say, it's entirely up to you. And I've lost count of how many colours I've got here, but quite a few. And I'm going to put a bit of white in as well. Okay, so all together. Oh, Brenda says, so looking forward to watching this lovely cake. And she's from Hythe in Kent. Good morning to you too, Brenda. I'm not doing the whole cake. That takes a whole day. Or to teach my students anyway. So I'm just showing you the waves. So there we are, a nice selection of paste on my work surface here. And all I'm going to do is to, let's put it in the camera. There we go. Is to start to knead it together. Now, I know I've shown marbling before on Facebook Live, but it's a technique I absolutely love doing. So initially, we're just going to, I'll do it one hand, it looks better. There we are. Now, you want to knead until it doesn't look very marbled, because that, if I show that to you, that doesn't look marbled at all. But the secret is to get a palette knife and to cut across this. And when I open it up, if I cut it properly would help, wouldn't it? There we go. You've got some gorgeous marbling. So what I'm going to do, now if I did it like that, you get the butterfly effect, because you get the mirror image of that. So I don't actually want that. So I'm going to put two together like that. Okay. Right, so what I need to do now is get my rolling pin. Now, how you roll out your paste determines the patterns that you get. Because if I roll it this way, like that, then it opens up, oops, knocking the camera too, opens up the pattern that way. And then if I turn it round and roll it this way, I'll get lines, so that it exaggerates the lines of the pattern. So it's really up to me which way I roll and what I want to achieve really with this marbling. And the spacers mean that I keep the marbling all the same thickness. Now obviously this is going to be covering a board, so actually it doesn't matter too much whether or not you use the spacers, but I just find it easier. Okay, just going to do this bit down here, so opening it out. Oh, that does look very sea-like, doesn't it? Oh, I'm very pleased with that. Let me just pick up the camera and show you a little bit more. So you've got some lovely swirls going on. That bit's gorgeous if the camera can focus on it. There we go. Oh, that's very intricate. I do love a good marbling. Okay, so what we do now is just move the spacers out of the way and pop this over my rolling pin and bring the board back in like that. And I'm just going to, obviously this wasn't made to measure sort of thing. Now I can decide that if I want it that way or whether I want the pattern this way. I think I'm going to go for that way. Okay, so first of all I'm going to start by just squeezing out the air. Like so. Just, it's a good start. Now, take the excess off. Now, I do this in pieces because it doesn't matter if there are joins. So, for example, I haven't got enough paste here, so I can just, let's just take a little bit of the excess away here. I don't have enough space on this board, really. But literally cut off piece here, and that can go in there. It's all going to be covered. Everything can be disguised with this method. So it doesn't matter at all. So just show you how it works. So very roughly, that is where we're going to start from. Now, what I want to do is to shape my waves. So this is where the fingers come in. I've got to decide which way they're travelling, first of all. So I think, so you can see I'm going to have them travelling that way. So that means that they have a very short, they're steeper here, and then they curve down this side. So this is the back of the wave here, that bit, and this is the front of the wave that's going to fall over that way. I hope I'm making sense. Trish, she says hi from something, it's a Welsh name that I cannot pronounce. It's a I don't know. You know how it's spelled, how to pronounce it, Trish. I'm not very good with the Welsh names because I know it's very difficult phonetically to pronounce them when you're not a Welsh speaker. All right, there we go. So that's that one. And this is going to be... Can you see? No, you can't see that well, right? Now, the sugar paste underneath means it's all soft and pliable. So you can actually push the waves close together. You can build them up taller because you've got a bit of bulk underneath that allows you to manipulate the paste. Oops, daisy. It's moving. So I'm hoping you can see what's going on here. Celia says, hi Lyndon from not so sunny Jersey. Do you know, we had flurries of snow earlier. It's now sunny out here, but it was bitterly cold and snowy for a very short time. And then that's all gone over. And we've got a bit of sunshine, but it is definitely still winter. So the thought of beautiful seas in lovely turquoise colours is rather appealing. Okay, so that's a start. Now, obviously, I would normally spend a little time just manipulating and changing things until I was happy. But if I turn it round, hopefully you can see what's going on. That's a better angle, isn't it, for you? You can see how I've got this line now of using the marbling. Right, there we go. We got... I'm not quite sure, the name is, anyway, Steve Kelly, he's saying he's got sunshine, rain and hail as well. It's that time of year, isn't it? Amanda saying good morning from sunny Gloucestershire. Okay, so you can see what's happening. We've got some nice waves travelling in this direction. And now I'm going to add some surf. Now I tend to go a bit over the board with the surf, just because I think it looks really lovely. So I've got some royal icing here, which I will bring in. Move that across, which I've just taken I've prepared it earlier, I've just taken the cling film off. Let's bring it in here. So I'm just going to paddle this, just to get it nice and smooth, like so. Claire says good morning, and she's got the wind. You can tell we're all British, can't you? We all talk about the weather. And why not? Why not indeed? So here we are, we've got some nice, I bring this in quickly, paddled royal icing, and I'm going to add that now to the tops of my waves. So I'm going to bring the board back in again. There we are. And I'm going to use a paintbrush initially. And all I'm going to do is just put some on my paintbrush, like so, and start just placing them randomly along the tops of the waves, like so. Because I'm going to use a technique called brush embroidery in a moment to smooth this out, but we're just going to put a little bit along there. This is where you can hide those joins and seams and any bits you don't like, because you just put some royal icing on the top. Now I'll do this in sections if you're doing a whole cake. You don't have to, you don't want the royal icing to dry. So I'm going to turn it round because I'm right-handed, so I need to do the waves this way. So what I'm doing now is wetting my paintbrush. So I've got a nice damp paintbrush, not too wet, but damp enough so that the paste, I can stroke the royal icing down the back of each of the waves. We've got Victoria saying she loves this effect. She says it's a technique, very similar to the technique to make camouflage Action Man tent cake. Yeah, I agree with you. You can adapt this technique in any way you like. It's one I've been doing for years and years and years. I think the book that I mentioned at the beginning was published in 2005, which means that's 13 years ago, which meant I made the original cake at least 14 years ago. So it's one of those techniques that stood the test of time, as they say. Okay, so I think I want to add a little bit more on here, just because I've got a nice big wave and I want it to be more dramatic, like so. Now, if you look at pictures of waves, or if you live by the sea, you'll know that you don't just get the waves, the foam, the white on the top, you also get it between the waves. So you can add some in there as well. I love going to the sea. Very rarely get the opportunity to, but I do love it when I can. There we are. So this bit, because I've got all the joins and the bits of paste, it's ideal for just covering those. And I think I need a little bit more on the top. We've got hello from Israel. And it's so nice, love it, she says. That's wonderful. Thank you so much. Okay, and we've got Anna saying she loves my work too. Can I explain how to do the marble? You've obviously come in later. That's absolutely fine. What I'll do is I'll post this up afterwards so you can rewatch the beginning. As I say, it's very rough and ready today, and it's based on a cake from my Party Animal Cake book, which I will give you a link to in a moment. Right, so there we go. That concludes what I've done. Let me show you if it will focus. Will it focus? It will. There we go. Lots of lovely waves. Now, once the royal icing is dry, what you can do is add some piping gel. So I will get some of that out and show you in a moment, because I realise not everyone is familiar with piping gel. Now, I've put some into a container here, and I will show you. It's sort of gloopy stuff. Can you see? Like that. And it's amazing stuff. You can use it for all sorts of things, but it works really well by adding it on top. Normally I'd let the royal icing dry, okay, but it adds that extra shine because the royal icing will dry with a matte finish, so it won't be shiny as it is at the moment. And then when you put this on top, this will stay shiny. And sometimes it stays sticky, and sometimes if it's very dry, the atmosphere is very dry where you are, it'll set. It depends completely on the atmospheric conditions. But I'll show you the whale cake himself in a minute. If I move this out the way, where I have actually put this on, because I say that royal icing is a little bit wet still. So let me bring the cake back in, and I'll give you a close-up of that. In fact, I'll show you before and after, because I've done half of it, not the other half. So let me pick this up. Okay, so these waves don't have, they're dry now, and they don't have any of the piping gel on them. These waves around the front, I put piping gel on this morning. So can you see that they're nice and shiny? And they will stay shiny. And there you are, there's his happy smiley face. Now, he was originally based on a bath toy that my children had years and years ago. Let me flip the camera back to me. Hopefully it'll work, because earlier it wasn't. There we go. I'm back again. And it wasn't until after the class that I remembered that was the inspiration for the cake. Because as I've already said, it was a long time ago that I made him. Let's turn him around again. Okay. Right, if you've got any questions, do ask them, and I will pop on in a few minutes and answer as many as I can. Becky says, I use it for buttercream to give it some shine. Yep, it's piping gel you can use for all sorts of things. If you heat it up and let it melt, you can then use it as dewdrops on sugar flowers as well, which is fab. You can also use it for stained glass. You can use it for a whole host of things. I just love it. I can get through pots and pots. I use it a lot on my cookies. I use it to stick the sugar paste to the cookies themselves. So that's probably what I use mostly, but you know, just by adding it to this, which I can add a little bit more on here, it creates that lovely, lovely shine that stays. I mean, I could paint it all over him, but I'm not going to. I'm just going to keep it to the waves. Makes it a little bit more special, and people always think, how did you do it? Okay, that concludes everything I've got to show you today. I hope you've enjoyed today's Facebook Live, and I hope to see you again soon.